Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. It is Thursday, August 22nd, 2019. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon right across from me.
What's up?
Per normal, per usual.
Except that one time I got lit.
Yeah, that's true.
South Carolina.
Yeah, that was a slow show. Today we give you our mock draft part 4. This is very exciting. I love mock drafting.
Mock drafts are the best.
It also happens to be our most popular show, so share it with your friends. We're going to go over a quick question, but before we do that, be sure to check out our website, thefantasychampions.com. We released a brand new article yesterday about Juju Smith-Schuster. So
I might be dropping an article this week, too.
Oh, shoot. What's it about?
I don't want to spoil it, bro.
Oh, all right. So Juju, be sure to head over to our website, read it. Follow us on Twitter at the FF Champs, Instagram at the Fantasy Champions, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/the Fantasy Champions. Subscribe wherever you listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. Click the bell for notifications on YouTube, leave a review, and share this podcast with your friends. I think I'm getting slightly better at that. Let's go into a quick question to start the show. Is there any one offense that you've been completely avoiding in drafts?
You know, you asked me this question, and it took me 2 seconds to respond.
And it took me like 10 minutes to figure out what the hell my answer was going to be.
I'm not drafting anyone on the Redskins at all. And I understand that Darius Geis is okay and could be a valid option. To me, if I'm going to draft anybody on the Redskins, it would probably be him, but I'm not going out of my way to draft Darius Geis. They have no receivers. I don't trust their offense at all. Their O-line is okay, actually, surprisingly, but I'm not drafting Adrian Peterson.
I want to see
they don't have a quarterback at all.
Yeah.
I'm not drafting anyone on the Redskins for me.
Oh my gosh. You said that, and then I was like, I got to pick another one. The Redskins, it's true, they do have some really good young talent.
They do.
But
I think
like their wide receivers are too young.
They're
to
going
do
in the right
something this year.
direction.
They're going in the right direction.
But for this year, I'm not drafting anyone.
They have some good young receivers that aren't going to be good this year.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Peterson and Darius Geis would probably be the only two options
that you would consider.
There's also Jordan Reed that you might consider as the only option. But like for me, like I was contemplating: do you draft Darius Geis? Do you not draft Darius Geis? Like, what is the situation what situation would you use to justify that? Like, and I can't find metrics to back up why I would draft Darius Geis. I do like him as a player.
Yeah.
But with Adrian Peterson there, it's just not a good situation. It's volatile.
Depends where
Chris
he is.
Thompson too.
Yeah.
And it's like you got so much going on in that backfield. You don't know who the starting quarterback's going to be. The defense blows.
It's
that
not a good
line is
situation
average.
for fantasy football.
Just stay away from it in general. Like Jordan Reed might be a good play, but even he is
I think he's more of like
and flyer guy.
Right.
Yeah, like he might be the main guy in the offense. Like, but I'm not taking Jordan Reed. So I do agree with that one. I'm going to say the Denver Broncos.
This was my second choice, so I disagree.
I was thinking about it, and I'm like, is there anybody on the team I would take? Because Rolls-Royce is my boy.
You probably would take
Rolls-Royce Freeman. No, I'm not even taking him anymore. I used to, but I'm not.
He's going too high?
Yeah. For
his ADP is
from
jumping.
what I'm seeing that they're going to do, no, I don't want him. Unless they use him in the passing game, but that's another conversation. Noah Fant's their tight end.
You like him, but he's a rookie.
He's a rookie. He's not going to be valuable this year. Joe Flacco is not going to be valuable this year. You have Phillip Lindsay, who we tell you to avoid. Do not draft Phillip Lindsay. Please, God, do not draft Phillip Lindsay.
Unless he falls like 2 rounds.
It's true. Yeah, I guess.
And even then, you're like...
even then, I'm like, no. Phillip Lindsay, no. Royce Freeman, like, people want to buy him for upside, but I don't even think he's worth the upside anymore. Yeah. So the running back situation you got to avoid. There's that one guy who's like, Devontae Booker was good 5 years ago. I'm going to draft him. Guarantee he gets drafted by at least one team.
15th round.
No. And then your wide receivers, Emmanuel Sanders, coming off an Achilles injury. I don't think that's as good as he looks in the preseason. in that one game he played and how good he was cutting, he's not worth it. Like he's like Julian
He's
Edelman,
somebody
who we talked
like,
about on
if
our
he
last
fell,
show.
I'd probably draft, but
like Emmanuel Sanders and Julian Edelman are similar in the context that they're consistent and they always have wide receiver 2 finishes. I just don't think that's going to be the case for Emmanuel Sanders this year, just because of the Achilles injury. And then you have Cortland Sutton, who's a bit of a sleeper pick. It's a deep dive at wide receiver. It's a deep sleeper, and then Deshaun Hamilton, who is a young guy coming out of the slot.
Drafted.
He's probably he's going undrafted at this point. So there's a lot of pieces in that offense, and similar to the Redskins in terms of like they can be good this year, but how many guys are going to be fantasy relevant? Like how many guys in that wide receiver core are going to finish in the top 24?
I don't think any of them. Maybe Sanders if he plays a full season healthy. But
how many?
It's a big if.
How many of the running backs do you think are going to finish in the top 24?
I don't think either of them. Maybe Philip. I think one of them might.
Do you think Noah Fant can finish in the top 12?
No.
And Joe Flacco,
no,
definitely not. So I think their offensive line is actually pretty good, but I think there's just not a lot to look for in the Denver Broncos offense in terms of fantasy football. Not necessarily avoiding their offense because they blow.
Yeah.
Just avoiding their offense because there's not going to be many fantasy relevant
assets on there. If somebody, I think,
dropped,
like if Philip Lindsay drops down a lot or if Freeman was like dropped a lot in your draft, then
I might
would
take a
probably
risk.
Take him. Yeah, but I'm not going out of my way to draft anyone on the Broncos.
But I consistently believe that he's not going to finish in the top 20, so why waste my time? You know what I mean? Denver Broncos, that's the one I'm going to choose. Let's move into our mock draft, part 4. I just want to let you know, 10-team, half PPR. We're picking the 6th pick together.
6th pick is usually easy.
6th pick was easy at the beginning of.
It was 2 months ago. If you had the 6th pick,
before
you were
all these
jumping up and down.
Started drafting.
Now you have the 6th pick. You're sweating.
Yep, definitely.
This is a tough spot.
If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it just pop up on our screen. You can see us draft right on Sleeper. We recommend Sleeper. It's a great platform. Let's begin the draft. Starting with the number 1 pick, Saquon Barkley, McCaffrey. Whoa.
Ooh, Le'Veon Bell goes 3rd overall.
The Sleeper API.
So this is
trashing people's drafts with Le'Veon Bell going.
Is there somebody in your league going to do that?
No.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. You know what? I was going to say no, but then
you
I was
got a
like,
Jets fan in your league? Yeah.
So we do have Barkley and McCaffrey has been the consistent 1 and 2.
Yep.
I would say, obviously, Kamara probably should be the 2 or the 3. Bell should not have been drafted 3, but and then you got Zeke 5. So we're sitting here.
We're actually in a good spot. I'm nervous.
Yeah, it's true. So who would you go after here?
I'm so torn. I was prepared to go with Hopkins. I don't know. I don't think David Johnson in a lot of leagues is going to fall to 6. Okay. I think he's going to go in the top 5 in a lot of leagues. I'm going to go with Hopkins, though. I don't know what you want to do.
So for me, I'm looking at 6 picks from now because I think if we go Hopkins, you also have Adams here. Hopkins is in half PPR. I believe Adams is my number 1, so I would go Adams.
Oh, okay.
You go Hopkins, so that's just a disagreeing point. Okay. But as far as like looking at it in the context of so our next pick is 8 picks away. So if we're at pick 15 in the next round, we're going to have guys like Juju, Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Odell Beckham, possibly Todd Gurley if we get lucky.
Would you be comfortable with taking Odell or Tyreek Hill or Juju versus like Joe Mixon or Dalvin? Like, would you be more comfortable with that guy being your number 1 receiver or that guy being your number 1 running back? Is I think the conversation we have to have. Meaning, are you okay with like Dalvin Cook or Joe Mixon being your number 1 running back if it comes to that?
No.
See, I'm not either.
Not at all.
Which means you want to take a running back. You probably don't. You?
I would take a running back. Right now, I'm not really a huge fan of David Johnson.
I'm not taking Nick Chubb. Not at number 6. No,
you know
no,
who I might recommend taking here is James Conner.
Ooh, I like that. That's a spicy take. I don't know if I would do that though.
You want to do it just for kicks?
I would take Hopkins, bro.
You would take Hopkins.
I go safe pick here and take Hopkins. But if you want to take Connor, you have control.
All right, you know what? We'll go first round just for kicks. We'll do DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to say just for kicks.
Yeah,
James Conner.
Yeah. So we have David Johnson, Devontae Adams, Julio
this is
Jones.
falling
Lots
perfectly,
of wide receivers come off
This
the board.
felt perfectly, dude.
Yeah, for both of us.
This is why
We
you need
took
to
the
trust me,
risk.
bro.
Stop.
This is why you need to trust me. Let's take James Conner 6th overall.
Johnson, Dalvin Cook, James Conner all come off the board, and then Adams, Jones, Thomas, Hill, and Beckham also come off the board as wide receivers. So we're at this pick. Nick Chubb, Todd Gurley on the board.
I was
didn't
really
know if it was
hating Nick
gonna
Chubb
happen.
at 6th overall. I kind of like him at 205. And I know you love Todd Gurley even more, so I'm fine with either one of those picks, and even Joe Mixon. Even if you wanted to go Juju, I know you love Juju.
Which one would you take? Out of
Personally,
Todd Gurley
if I'm here, I'm
Chubb.
probably taking Nick Chubb.
So
Actually, I don't know. I'm taking Joe Mixon, actually.
Joe Mixon.
Yep.
So I would take Todd Gurley.
I know you would. I'm fine with Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley's number 6 on my rankings. That's why I would normally.
I'm so concerned about the injury, but I don't mind that. Like, I would be okay if you. We want what my guy went first. We'll take Gurley.
Take Gurley. We do have, just to consider this as an option, we do have, I think it's 10 picks in between. Is that right? 10 picks in between. So our next pick at 26 would be guys like Keenan Allen, Leonard Fournette, Kerryon Johnson, Devonta Freeman. I'm just trying to think, like, if we were to go Juju.
We have options, I think, either way.
If we were to go Juju, would we be comfortable with a guy like Leonard Fournette or Kerryon Johnson being our running back?
No. Not as an RB1. I like both those guys, but not as an RB1. I think you got to go. It's tough. You have options here.
I'm like thinking.
I'm very surprised.
I think we have to go running back. I think the higher tiered player right now is Todd Gurley or Nick Chubb. I do have Juju as my second tier wide receiver, which is why I would consider possibly taking him here and just covering my eyes. But we are in a half PPR league when you do need a freaking running back. So I'm going to take Todd Gurley.
Okay.
Sorry, I had
That's
to do
fine.
it. So we have a bunch of picks coming up, but I'm
ahead.
not concerned about Todd Gurley as much as others should be. I think that the hype surrounding the arthritis got a little bit strong. I think if they keep him on a good plan, he's not going to play in a preseason game, which is good. He just started doing contact drills in practice, so he's fine. And they're saying that he looks really good in training camp. So I think Todd Gurley is going to be a safer pick than people think he's going to be. And I wouldn't take him over Joe Mixon. I would take him over Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb, even Dalvin Cook. But I would draw the line probably at James Conner and David Johnson. We have Juju, Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown wide receivers come off the board. Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Leonard Fournette, Kerryon Johnson, Devonta Freeman. We didn't get one running back in that group I talked about to stay. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes came off the board at 210 and 301. So our options here are kind of thin at running back.
Yeah, it is. Unless you want to go Damian Williams.
No. Never in a million years.
I knew you would say that. You could go receiver again and go Keenan Allen here.
I was going to say that.
I think that's what I would do.
So
because I'm hoping Marlon Mack,
only
going
thing
by
that
the
I would
ADP,
consider,
will be there.
How much of a difference would you put between Stefon Diggs and Keenan Allen?
I don't think there's a huge difference, but I think Keenan Allen is the better option. Like, he is like, I hate to say like he's considerably better.
Let me ask you this. Forget about
Damian.
Just assume Damian Williams got drafted because I don't want to draft him here. So you have Aaron Jones, Melvin Gordon, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery. Those are the 4 running backs that I would consider drafting here. Maybe possibly Marlon Mack.
Okay.
But that even is too high. We could probably wait on that. Those options, or when we get to our pick at 35, which would be Chris Carson, Derrick Henry, or Mark Ingram in the 3rd round as our second running back? Mm-hmm. Or would you rather have one of the 3 guys I just mentioned, or get Keenan Allen, Adam Thielen, or T.Y. Hilton, as opposed to guys like Stefon Diggs, Julian Edelman, and Brandon Cooks?
Do you want to take the risk here and play the ADP and just hope we get Marlon Mack with our next pick?
I was going to...
It's tempting because I think it's too early here. I mean, I think Aaron Jones...
I was going to say possibly take... I know it's a hot pick, but we're in the 3rd round, and you can win a fantasy championship without having a successful 3rd round pick. So I'm willing to take it's a very risky running back core, but I'm willing to take Melvin Gordon at 306.
I was thinking that too. I'd rather Aaron Jones though,
because if we draft a running back here, we're going to have a lot of options at wide receiver.
Man, the 6th pick is tough.
It really is. If we'll have a lot of wide receivers on the flip. So if we go wide receiver here, we're going to be weaker at running. Like even at our next pick, I would say we have to go wide receiver again, just because of how it works out. Like, our option is, do you want to draft Mark Ingram in the 4th round? Like, it doesn't seem like a good. And then reaching on, like, I mean, I like Chris Carson in the 4th round. I don't think he's going to be there.
Okay.
Do you want to take the risk and see what happens?
You can go. You can pick whoever.
All right, I'll take Keenan Allen for you.
Okay.
So we'll go Keenan Allen. I actually, T.Y. Hilton and Keenan Allen are very close in my rankings. If I was drafting by myself, I probably would have taken T.Y.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in the next round. But T.Y., Amari Cooper, Marlon Mack are our options.
So far,
Mack
you've trusted me twice.
Stop.
Both times have worked out. I'm telling you guys, take risks.
Josh Jacobs did get taken. Melvin
followed
Gordon
the
at
ADP.
401. David Montgomery 309. Aaron Jones 4.3. Chris Carson 4.4. Damian Williams 3.7. And then Adam Thielen at 3.8 and George Kittle at 3.10. So T.Y. Hilton, Amari Cooper, Marlon Mack on the board. I think you said it.
Yep,
Let
Derrick
him fall.
Henry.
He's like, smash that button right now, Derrick Henry. We're going to take Marlon Mack. That is interesting. This is exactly how you need to approach your draft, though, is understanding. Maybe you have to understand your league mates and know what they're going to do.
So if we were doing a random league right now with random people, it would be so much harder because we wouldn't be able to predict the next pick. We're doing it with a computer. Now, it is unpredictable because they do that on purpose where they'll have, which is what's so great about Sleeper and mock drafts against the CPU. They will go with random guys. But you kind of can still go by the ADP and have a good idea who you're going to take.
Right.
But if you know your league, it's so much easier to figure out who you're going to draft or who will be there in your next pick.
And I think understanding runs. You know what I mean? Like I probably would have gone. You're coming out in the 3rd round. You're coming out of kind of a little bit of a running back run. You had Leonard Fournette, Kerryon Johnson, and then Antonio Brown comes off the board at 305, and then you take Keenan Allen. But it's like if you had taken. Who's the guy I was thinking about taking at that point?
Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon, who went at 401. You did end up with Marlon Mack, which is a great pick. At this point, like from what I've been seeing in the preseason, Marlon Mack is...
In the 4th round, I think, is a very good pick.
Very good value. But we caught him at the end of a large run of running backs.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon, Josh
Jacobs,
was the
last
Aaron
guy,
Jones,
really.
Chris Carson, even David Montgomery you can throw into that conversation, but he was the last guy on that run. For me, I like to be ahead of the run and ahead of that situation, but I mean, you ended up with Marlon Mack, and that's what happened. The next couple picks, Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, only 2 running backs taken with the 10 picks after Marlon Mack. Stefon Diggs, T.Y. Hilton, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Julian Edelman, Brandon Cooks, and Cooper Kupp all got taken, as well as Zach Ertz. So that leaves us with Robert Woods and Kenny Golladay. I'm going to say Robert Woods, Kenny Golladay, or Tyler Lockett. Now, you also have the option.
Phillip Lindsay?
A little bit down Phillip Lindsay. A little bit down the board. For me, I think you know where I'm going here. We're kind of in a tough spot in terms of a flex player.
Yep.
So, you could if you wanted to go running back here, your options are Sony Michel or James White, Patriot running backs. Tevin Coleman's also an option, but Tevin Coleman's going pick 51.
That's a little early for Tevin Coleman.
So
if I was going running back here, I'd go Sony.
I would go Sony Michel too, but you also have the option of picking up Kenny Golladay, Robert Woods, or AJ
I think it's
Green.
tough to pass on Robert Woods or Kenny Golladay at this point.
Which one would you take?
Probably Robert Woods, but it's close. I think you can't go wrong with either of those guys.
Yeah, I'll take Robert Woods. So Lockett comes off the board right after that. Sony Michel, Phillip Lindsay, Kenny Golladay, Tevin Coleman, Aaron Rodgers, AJ Green, and then Deshaun Watson. So now we're left with Calvin Ridley, James White, Tyler Boyd, Mike Williams. We are a little bit weaker at running back.
We are.
Had we just taken had we just taken Melvin Gordon at 306, we might.
We would have had
a lot of running backs, though, a massive run of running backs early in the draft, though. So what do you think we should do here?
So do you want to take a stretch and go with the running back to try to fill the depth, or do you just keep going by ADP here and go like Calvin Ridley would be, or Tyler Boyd? I probably would say.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough because To me, if you are going running back here, are you taking James White? Half PPR setting?
No.
I'm looking at Miles Sanders probably. I'd say Miles
Is that a
Sanders or
reach,
Tyler
though?
Boyd.
Is that a reach?
That's a little bit. I'm probably going Tyler
neither
Boyd.
one's going to make it to our next pick.
No. So you kind of want to draft the guy you want, but Calvin Ridley wouldn't be a bad option either. So I'd say one of those three guys.
All right, we need some depth at running back.
Who are you going with?
Miles Sanders.
Oh,
I'm not
taking
really
the guy.
a huge fan of that. It might take a couple weeks for a guy like Miles Sanders to develop into what you want him to, but when you
be
find
patient
out
on
Jordan
Miles
Howard
Sanders.
blows, he might be a good play. Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, quarterbacks came off the board. O.J. Howard came off the board. Lamar Miller, James White also came off the board, as well as Jarvis Landry, Tyler Boyd, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, and Mike Williams. 4 wide receivers that I absolutely love. And now we're here at the 706. So we do have some options. Alshon Jeffrey, who I actually really like coming into the season, and Robbie Anderson. You also have Kenyon Drake, Latavius Murray, Tariq Cohen, Austin Eckler. This is probably where it would be safe to draft Kenyon Drake or Tariq Cohen.
I'd go with I don't know actually.
Because they're going to come off the board.
I'll go with Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say they're both going to come off. Tariq Cohen and Kenyon Drake are going to come off somewhere around 8-1 and 8-4 right before our pick. So if we hold out, we might be able to land Kenyon Drake, who's the bottom of that. Like if we were to draft Cohen and then hope Drake falls to us at 8:05.
Right.
Want to try it?
Yeah, why not?
We'll take Cohen and then hold our breath. Don't do it to me.
Done.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
It worked.
Look at you.
So we have Hunter
This
Henry.
is the third time we've done that this draft,
and it's worked out. We had Hunter Henry and Evan Ingram come off the board. Matt Ryan and Drew Brees came off the board. Latavius Murray, Austin Eckler came off the board, and then we had Robbie Anderson and Alshon Jeffrey. So our risk worked. I wanted to see if we could get Cohen and Kenyon Drake at the 7-6 and the 8-5, because when you look at the beginning of our draft, we are weaker at running back. So we have to figure out, like Marlon McIntyre earlier, 2 good running backs, but I usually like to put, as do you, a flex running back, a running back in my flex.
Yeah, most of the time, unless you have like 3 stacked receivers.
So, and right now, the guys that are good wide receivers that you would want to draft in the middle rounds, which would be Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, guys like that, all kind of went in a cluster. You still have some good options, like Alshon Jeffrey and Robbie Anderson, but at 7-6, was that even a good option? You know what I mean?
Right.
I do like Christian Kirk. I do like Will Fuller, and I do like Dante Pettis and Curtis Samuel. But Curtis Samuel and Dante Pettis are probably going to fall to us at the 9-6. So, like taking the risk of saying, okay, I'm going to draft Tariq Cohen, and then go and draft Kenyon Drake, that works out. You know what I mean?
Kenyon Drake's the play here. There were some good receivers, though. I definitely Will Fuller is a guy, if you're sitting in the 8th or 9th round, to take a good look at.
He just came off the board.
Yep. Okay.
My boy Cam Newton just left too.
Rest in peace.
So I think because we ran 3 running backs in a row.
I think the play here is Dante Pettis.
Yeah, I agree. Dante Pettis for sure. In terms of our next pick, I would say, what is that, to 10-5?
Yeah.
Yeah, our
Kalen
options are going to
Ballage
be
is our projected next pick.
Kalen Ballage. Interesting. We'll take Dante Pettis and see what happens. We do have to start thinking about tight ends and quarterbacks here. Ballage just came off the board. So we have Howard Freeman and Kareem Hunt with Kalen Ballage. And then wide receivers, Dede Westbrook, Sammy Watkins coming off the board. Eric Ebron just got drafted. Defense, Chicago Bears. And I think that's it.
Here's what I'll say with this. So now we've built the core of our team.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind taking Vance McDonald here and then hoping Russell Wilson falls to us with our next pick. Would you be down with that?
I actually would.
I know you probably want Kyler Murray.
I was going to say David Njoku.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. We can go Njoku over.
I think
Vance
Kyler
McDonald.
might fall to us because when you look at the rest of the draft board, Patrick Mahomes is on team 1. Team 2 is Andrew Luck. Team 3 has Carson Wentz. Team 4 has Cam Newton. And Team 5 has Baker Mayfield. So there is a large chance that Kyler Murray might fall to us.
Okay.
I
say go with McDonald or Njoku, whoever you think is going to be better, and then let a quarterback try to fall to us in the 11th.
I'll say Vance Dance.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. It's going to be interesting because they do have all 5 of them. Jared Goff. Don't do it.
Corey Davis. Wow.
Oh, you took 2 quarterbacks, you lose.
But hey, dude, that means my guy's on the board.
Russell Wilson. Yeah. You want to take him?
Sure,
but we have
boss.
Winston, too. We can wait.
I would go Russell Wilson over Jameis Winston.
Okay, we'll take Wilson then. So now we filled out that. The rest of this draft should be... I've been on this kick of not drafting kickers and defenses in my draft. So normally we would take 14, 15, a kicker or a defense. But now, for me, I think it would be a better idea if we didn't do that and just picked 15 normal players. But anyway, I was hoping Kyler Murray would fall to us.
I know you were, bro.
Cortland Sutton came off the board. Larry Fitzgerald and Josh Gordon came off the board at the 12-2. Josh Gordon at 12-2 is interesting. Carlos Hyde, LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson, Peyton Barber came off the board as running backs, and Jameis Winston at the 11-10 as the only quarterback. So now we got some options.
Dude, Metcalf, bro.
Knee surgery, Metcalf.
Yeah.
I didn't even talk about that on the news on Tuesday. I do like Deshaun Jackson here and Devin Singletary.
I'd probably go Devin Singletary before I go Deshaun Jackson.
The other thing is 11-6, the ADP of 116 for James Washington would mean we would have to get him here because I don't see him falling any farther.
Actually might even consider that. Going a little off the board to get a guy that we really like in James Washington as our 5th receiver on the team.
Let's get James Washington.
I thought you took Rams defense.
You were gonna, yeah.
Wow.
I took Rams defense. I go against the grain. I really do like James Washington. I think it's worth the deep play. I like Devin Singletary, and he came off the board at 12-7. Mm-hmm. I like Devin Singletary, but the problem with Devin Singletary for me is simply that if LaShawn McCoy ends up staying, his ceiling is kind of capped. Like, he doesn't have a lot of value in terms of...
But I think the chances of LaShawn McCoy getting hurt are above 80%. And if that is the case, Devin Singletary's ceiling is no longer capped.
Interesting.
But I understand your logic.
Because they also have reported that LaShawn McCoy might be traded or cut before the season. So if that happens, Devin Singletary becomes a really good play and a really good option. But the Bills are also a bad football team. So, like, how good is their offense this year? How good does Josh Allen become? All those questions kind of come into play. I would take James Washington over Devin Singletary here just because of that particular situation. We had other guys, 2 defenses. I'm going to leave them unnamed. Rams and Jaguars. Sanders, Metcalf, Harry, and Moncrief all went off the board as wide receivers. Duke Johnson and Matt Breida, as well as Phillip Rivers, all came off the board. So Deshaun Jackson did fall to us.
He did. I knew you were going to say that. You can take Deshaun Jackson.
Is there another guy you want?
I would take Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. Going with my personal strategy of drafting a quarterback in the 13th
You like the
round.
double quarterbacks.
I love double quarterbacks, dude.
Yeah.
Only if the second quarterback is pure upside.
Yeah,
I don't want an actual
I don't know
backup.
if Lamar Jackson's pure upside for me at this point. I think he's pure upside. I just don't know how high the upside is.
Okay.
He hasn't looked improved. Where's my Josh Allen?
He's far down now.
Oh, we could wait on him. Last pick.
If we wait on him, though, does that mean we're not
I think
taking a
Deshaun
kicker in
Jackson
defense?
is going to be the guy with the highest upside in terms of, like, he's going right now. Usually what you get is a guy like, at this point, is a guy like James Washington or Donta Moncrief or N'Keal Harry or the guys we have on the board like Anthony Miller, Tyrell Williams, Kiki Kuti, guys like that. They're a little bit deeper dives. Deshaun Jackson is in a good offense, and he's the number 1 or 2 wide receiver on the team next to Alshon Jeffrey, and I think he's still got a lot of good things left in him. And I think as a wide receiver in the 13th round, I think there's an upside that he could finish as a wide receiver too. And to get that in the 13th round is what the 30th, this is the 40th or 50th wide receiver off the board. That's worth it to me.
I'm not a Deshaun Jackson guy, but the ADP is there where I think it's very reasonable to draft him.
Want to do it?
Sure.
Djax.
Lamar Jackson.
He's gone. Yeah, there's going to be a run. So it's going to be easy now. There's just going to be kickers and defense.
So are we doing a kicker or defense?
No. He's like, he laughed. It's true, though.
Then let's go Josh Allen, bro.
Wait till 15-6. He's going to be there. I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now.
I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait for my guy.
He doesn't want to wait. Fine, take him now and crush myself.
Okay, fine. We won't. Who are you going to take over Josh Allen?
So I was looking at
Baltimore Ravens defense?
Yeah. I was looking at Alexander Madison or Kiki Kuti. But as I scroll down and I look further, I would say I do like Justice Hill.
Out of those guys, I'd probably take Alexander Madison. Just because of the chance
if Dalvin does get hurt.
Right. Which is
Alexander Madison becomes a good play.
He does get hurt a lot. There's a chance that Alexander Madison never gets used at all, like fantasy-wise for you. But here in the 14th round, the chances of it's like, do you think Dalvin Cook will get hurt or not? Because if you say yes, he's definitely worth drafting in the 14th round.
I agree. I've been consistently like, if I draft Dalvin Cook, this is kind of the way that I've been looking at it, is that if I draft Dalvin Cook, I'm usually drafting Alexander Madison to kind of go with him.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because, not like you should handcuff your running backs, but I usually wait about 5 or 6 weeks into the season before I start thinking about handcuffs and trying to get the handcuff of a guy on my team. Because generally speaking, 2 running backs on a team doesn't really, you don't usually have 2 RB2s or 2 guys finishing the top 24 on the same team, generally speaking. So for me, Alexander Madison coming in, and if Dalvin Cook does get hurt or something does happen to him, Alexander Madison would be a great play. I'm not taking him as like a late season handcuff. I'm taking him as a Dalvin Cook gets hurt every 5 minutes, so you might as well have Alexander Madison type play. And to get him, and if another team is like, oh, you know what, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get Dalvin Cook, and you can steal him right away from people. You can grab Alexander Madison there. So, and he's been consistently falling in the 13th, 14th, or 15th round. What I have noticed about the last 3 rounds on Sleeper is that obviously you have a situation where a lot of kickers and defenses just go for the what is it called? Just their physical system. Like, it just drafts kickers and defenses with the last 2 picks automatically.
It does, yeah.
A lot of teams aren't going to do that. You're going to see more guys. You're going to see more guys go 11th, 12th, 13th, stuff like this. So it'll be more spread out. But for me, I'm the big thing I talked about this on the video I did Monday, and the reason why the reason why I don't draft kickers and defenses in drafts is more specifically because if I'm drafting this weekend, and a lot of people are, they're like, they're legitimately looking at their team going, okay, you know what? I'm going to draft the 24th. We're 2 weeks from the season starting, or 10 days at that point from the season starting. You don't know what's going to happen. If I get a guy like Devin Singletary in the 13th round, right, or something like that, and then I find out 2 days before the season starts that Devin Singletary is now going to be the starter and LaShawn McCoy has been cut or traded, then I keep Devin Singletary. Instead of going, oh, you know what, I need a kicker just to fill a spot, I'm not going to draft Devin Singletary.
Because chances
and then
are,
you get screwed.
Whoever you draft is a kicker or defense.
Right.
You're
going to drop them.
90% of the 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Those guys won't be on your team at the end of the year. You're going to go through kickers. You're going to go through defense.
Stream kickers and defenses.
There's
that's
only
like
number Bears,
one.
If you draft Bears defense, you'll probably keep them the whole year. But even then, people said that about the Jaguars, like going into last year.
The guy that you pick 1, 2.
Defenses are always
their turnover is so high.
It is. It's very high. So I understand your line of thinking.
Yep.
Usually I just fill the spots, but it's not a bad idea to do what you said.
I mean, I think if you just grab a guy that, like, in this last round we're going to just snag Josh Allen. And we have a lot of guys on our team that wouldn't be. But Josh Allen, who's going to basically, if we don't take him here, Josh Allen's going undrafted. So that's the guy you can drop for your kicker or your defense if you want to. But I think for me, just going that late and saying, you know what, I'm going to take a riskier guy here that may hit the waiver wire.
Right.
Probably. 2 guys are going to have to hit the waiver wire. 2. So you're going to have to make a decision, but I'd rather have the guy, see how they turn out, and then make the decision later. And then maybe you draft a guy that's good that no one else in your league likes, and you can maybe get him back later.
There you go. With our last pick, Josh Allen, bro.
Joshua Allen. I got to find him.
I've had my hand on Josh Allen since round 13.
Is he even there? Yeah, he is. There we go. Is he even there? He got taken 2 rounds before. So there is our team. First round, we went DeAndre Hopkins, Todd Gurley with our second pick, Keenan Allen with our third, Marlon Mack with our fourth, fifth was Robert Woods, sixth, seventh, eighth were Miles Sanders, Tariq Cohen, Kenyon Drake. Then we had Dante Pettis, Vance McDonald, Russell Wilson, James Washington, Deshaun Jackson, Alexander Madison, and Josh Allen. So we are a little bit weaker at running back. Mm-hmm. But I think
receivers are crazy good, though.
Yeah. I think you have a lot of upside, especially with like Keenan Allen at our wide receiver 2 spot. I've talked about how Melvin Gordon, if he does not return this year, or if he holds out for a significant amount of time,
Keenan Allen's going to be action in that offense.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of action in that offense, and I think you got a great play there. Robert Woods is a wide receiver 2 on most teams, and he's our third wide receiver. And then if one of these running backs, Miles Sanders, Tariq Cohen, or Kenyon Drake, work out, then I think you have a solid flex with some options at wide receiver. And I think it's a good structure, to build a team around. Especially, and I think the interesting thing too is when you mock draft, your goal as you approach your draft this weekend, your goal should be to test out different things. Like in that first
different scenarios.
That first pick that we had, we could have definitely gone with James Conner or David Johnson with that pick, the 106.
Yeah.
And then in the second round, Juju would have been there, or Tyreek Hill would have been there, and we would have sat there, and I think Juju's going to be a top 5 wide receiver this year. So Hopkins is going to be a top 5 wide receiver. Juju's going to be a top 5 wide receiver. Why don't we just snag the guy, James Conner or David Johnson, at 106 and then get Juju at the 205, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you could go different ways with things, and you use mock drafting to test strategies and situations to see how things work out. Mm-hmm. I've done so many mock drafts in so many different spots that when I draft in certain positions, it just like I know what to do in certain scenarios. If a guy goes, I'm like, oh, I did a mock draft two weeks ago where this guy went in that exact spot, and this is how I drafted, and my team turned out pretty good. So generally speaking, you can follow that and have a good strategy, but it's understanding what happens in your draft.
Right. That's the biggest thing, I think, is to understand players in your league and to understand just the draft, what's going on for this season.
Right.
Doing mock drafts definitely helps with that.
Right.
Obviously, as you were saying, you've done a lot, and now you know kind of where guys are going in almost every spot,
right,
who you can get depending on where you pick. So don't be afraid to play around with it.
Yeah,
in our draft, I have the 10th overall pick. I've been doing like a ton of different scenarios with the first round, the second round, the third round, fourth round, and seeing where guys end up and seeing what kind of combination I can get with my team.
Yeah, it's mock drafts are like literally the most important thing to drafting. You know, if you just roll up to your draft party with a sticky note and say, "Oh, I'm going to try to get these guys," and you did like one mock draft, that's not going to show you anything.
Don't expose me like that.
Yeah, don't expose me like that. That'll do it for our mock draft part 4. Be sure to listen next week as we give you our 5. I'm so excited about this podcast. 5 steps to building a super team.
Ooh.
You want that super team?
That's what we're built for.
The McCaffrey Eaters won your championship last year. Or I should say the Zeke Eaters.
Yeah.
You won your championship last year, and they were a super team, and they destroyed you 3 times in a row, and you were like, what the frick?
How come they're always at the top of the league?
Find out how to become a super team next week. 5 steps to building a super team. Don't forget to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Articles, content, all kinds of crap. Go there, read up, all that stuff.
You should really check out the website, though.
Yeah. See you Tuesday. Fantasy Jumps.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter at TheFFChamps.